I want to give special recognition to my daughter who helped me produce these videos, without whom I could not produce them because I'm not a technical person. But we enjoy bringing you the different topics that we talk about on our YouTube as well as our J. Frank Norris Historical Society. We're happy with the response that we've had from at least 31 countries, and so we encourage you to pass the word along and help us to increase our listening audience. Today I want to bring to you a brief message that you might know and recognize the name John Birch, who was associated with J. Frank Norris. Most people have heard of the John Birch Society, but that's not the real John Birch. The John Birch Society was simply named in honor of John Birch, who was killed in China in 1945. So I want to briefly update you who have never known the true story. J. Frank Norris held a meeting in Georgia, the home of John Birch, where he had graduated from Mercer University with highest honors. He was intrigued by the messages of J. Frank Norris, and immediately after finishing college, enrolled at the Bible Baptist Seminary in Fort Worth, Texas. And the little picture that I hold in my hand is the hall that was named after John Birch was killed. This hall was named the John Birch Hall, but of course now it has been demolished in downtown Fort Worth to make way for the rearrangement of the downtown section of Fort Worth. But John Birch spent about a year and a half in school at the Bible Baptist Seminary under the ministry of J. Frank Norris, and from there John Birch went to China as a missionary, I believe in about the year of 1940. I knew John Birch. He was in our home many times. He and my brother were good friends and visited many times on behalf of the First Baptist Church in Fort Worth. Now, John Birch went as a missionary, but shortly after arriving in China, as everyone knows, the war clouds of World War II were hanging low, especially in that part of the world. Japan was preparing for World War II, and as to bring you the fact of how that John Birch enters into the picture, as a missionary, he learned to speak the Chinese language fluently in just a very short time. And where he really came into prominence was when he was guided to a plane crash that happened to be the General Doolittle, famous general of World War II, and it was John Birch who rescued them and led them through the maze of the countryside and brought them to safety. And by this feat, he was brought to the attention of Clara Chennault, General Clara Chennault of the Flying Tigers. And he, hearing of this man, John Birch, who had been a missionary for some time after arriving in China, approached John Birch and offered to make him an officer on the spot, a battlefield commission as it were, and enter into the intelligence service. And what he did was move up and down the coastal regions of China where the Chinese were entrenched, and his ability to blend in with the natives of China made him very well qualified to engage in ideal intelligence service. And what he did was set up radio connections and taught the Chinese to relay information back to Clara Chennault, who in turn was able to send his Flying Tiger pilots and bomb the installations set up. They knew exactly where the Japanese were, and all of this was carried out at the direction of John Birch. And I might add that this is a story that I feel that needs to be told because of the fact that, in my opinion, John Birch was a World War II hero that has never as yet been received proper recognition. And his life story would make a beautiful movie, should there be anyone listening that might be have interest in looking into the story and conducting further research. Now, to make a long story short, after World War II, as everyone knows, Japan was defeated in 1945, in August, I believe it was. John Birch was still assigned as a captain in the intelligence division under Clara Chennault. And in that position, he was sent to the northern part. I'm not too sure in what province, because I'm not altogether sure of every facts, but I do know essentially the facts. I do know that he was sent to investigate the movements of the Red Chinese Army, as we well know at that time, were on the move and soon captured all of China, and from Chiang Kai-shek, who, by the way, was married to a wonderful woman. If you want to read a good life story of Madame Chiang Kai-shek, was a great Christian woman that was able to lead her husband to Christ. And as we look back and reflect, wouldn't it be a wonderful speculation to consider if Chiang Kai-shek had lived and been able to change the course of history? But, of course, that's all speculation. But to make a long story short, in the process, John Birch confronted on his task to North China to gather information. He was shot in execution style by the Red Chinese in sometime, I believe it was in September of 1945. And what a sad ending to a great soldier that John Birch really was in the service of the Lord, only 27 years old. And so he, being sent out as a missionary under the auspices of the First Baptist Church, that's the reason that J. Frank Norris then dedicated a large part of the properties of the First Baptist Church, designating as the John Birch Memorial Hall, in which many of the students that went out from that school have established churches all over the United States. And so I offer what I've said on this video as a memorial to a great man, a great soldier of the cross. And I wish there was more that I could offer you. But to those of you who might be interested in doing further research, here would be a marvelous endeavor if there's anyone listening with historical abilities to do research, to study the life of John Birch so that he might richly receive the just reward and recognition which I feel that he is much deserving of. A great hero of the cross and a hero of his country, an unsung hero. And again, I thank you each one for listening. God bless you, and may God bless the United States of America.